Hi, so for lecture 1 in module 1, for week 1 of our GBiz 25 digital and social media class, I will be going over a lecture called The Taxonomy of Social Media, Engagement. Social media is all about engagement, and in week 1 we want to figure out, and I want to figure out as a class, where are we on our social media level, right? Are we at the very beginning of it, or are we towards the end of it and we're fully integrated into social media? And so this quick little lecture will show you the different stages of social media so that we can know where we're at, and depending on the platform and depending on our whole social media usage as a whole, we can figure out how to do social media better by understanding where we're coming from. So let's get started with this lecture. Let's get started with what we're doing. So as you can see here, the title of our PowerPoint, the title of our lecture right here says The Taxonomy of Social Media, Engagement from Curiosity to Full Integration. And one thing you'll notice throughout this entire presentation is that as you go through the levels of social media, you start getting a thing, it's more engagement, right? Engagement's the overall umbrella. So if there's one thing you remember from this lecture, it's all about the engagement in social media. And so let's get started with our from curiosity all the way to full integration. And so as you can see here, level 1 of social media is curiosity. It's the entry level for social media. So some of you may be actually right here, right? You're not on a platform yet. It's something or someone has created an interest for you, whether it's been a family member, whether it's been a company, whether it's been a politician, celebrity, a charity, whatever it is that got you involved with it. You're curious. You're seeing about it. You're saying, hey, what's this Twitter thing? What's this Facebook? What's this Snapchat thing everybody keeps talking about? And so something or someone has created an interest for you in social media. That interest is enough to get you to look and explore. So now you're coming through it and going, okay, I want a little bit more about this. I'm curious, right? You're kind of like Curious George. You're kind of figuring it out, right? And then it's the gateway to all of the next steps in engaging in social media. So to start off, you have to have that curiosity, right? And you could be on many platforms already, but you're curious with one platform, or it could be on the whole, right? You're with you haven't even been on social media, your family's on social media, and you're just curious about getting on, starting an account, right? And so maybe this class is getting you past that curiosity phase, taking that curiosity phase and maybe going into the next phase, which we call lurking, right? And if you notice, it says lurking. Lurking is not a bad word in social media. It just means that we're all looking for knowledge to identify content and begin the early stages of understanding the rules, process, and lingo of the medium, right? Because everything has a learning curve, right? And so when you go to and I always say, and I'll probably say this in multiple videos that we carry, is that social media is really like a giant club, right? It's a huge club where everybody's involved, everybody's trying to get involved with social media, and you walk through the door of a club, or you walk through the door of a house party, and you're looking for your friends, right? The curiosity phase was you hearing about this party and you wanting to check it out, right? The lurking phase is you going to the party and kind of looking around, right? Checking out the scene, who's here, what food is here, what activities are going on, right? And so look at social media as one giant house party that we have. And so you're beginning those early stages of understanding the rules, process, and lingo of the medium. So everybody has been a lurker or is still a lurker. And if you are on multiple social media sites, you probably could be lurking on one. So for example, on YouTube, right? Many of us have checked out so many YouTube videos, but how many of you have actually created a YouTube account? Well, everybody has a YouTube account with a Gmail account, but how many of you have actually posted YouTube videos, shared YouTube videos with of your YouTube videos, trying to send them out there of your original content, right? Or maybe you just went on and looked. If you just go on YouTube and look, you're probably a lurker, right? That's not a bad thing. It just means, hey, I'm not really into this one. I'm kind of looking around for it. So you follow with little or no participation, right? Little or no participation. And lurking allows your curiosity turn into knowledge, right? You got to know what's going on. If you were first adopter on Twitter and you're on Twitter, you may didn't know what the @ reply is, or or what a retweet is, or what a share is. And so actually later on in the semester, when we get to the Twitter portion, I'm going to show you a video, and I may create it into a TED Talk, of a movie Chef. Chef with Jon Favreau and Sofia Vergara and Robert Downey Jr. It's about a guy who's a chef and then he creates his own food truck. Well, I love the movie because it incorporates so much social media, and he goes onto Twitter for the very first time, and instead of lurking, he goes straight to using the platform, and it kind of backfires, but not so much as you see the movie. He thought he was sending a private message to a food critic when actually it was a public message to a food critic. But if he would have lurked, he would have learned the knowledge and he wouldn't have sent out that tweet. However, he didn't, and stuff happened. So we'll talk about that more when we get to it. But lurking is that second phase. And so the third phase is understanding, right? You now understand. You participate and you consume information. Some of us may be at the understanding phase. Flow of information is in one direction and allows for an opportunity to identify credible material, resources, and individuals. So as understanding grows, participation begins, right? Once you understand what the platform is, once you understand what the information is, it goes forward. So you have an opportunity to identify credible material, resources, and individuals. However, I believe this is a critical point in the taxonomy because you need to understand that platform, right? And maybe nobody fully understands it, and with understanding takes a little bit of knowledge. I mean, even for myself as a social media professor, I'm constantly getting updated on social media technology. I mean, social media is so fast changing. So this past weekend, I got certified by Twitter as a Twitter flight school. So learning how to market better on Twitter and how to do content strategies on Twitter. There's so many certifications out there. Some of them are free, some of them are paid for. And so even for myself, I have to constantly go and update myself to say, what's up with these platforms, right? Has it changed? Did the new technology that they increased change? So when Facebook puts Facebook Live, that's a whole nother curiosity / going into lurking and understanding phase that we all have to fully develop. So you don't stay at one phase. You're constantly updating that phase. You may go back and then have to redo, but you're constantly evolving. And if no gain in understanding is made and a connection to using social media made and there's no connection, then no further engagement in social media, right? If you go to a party and you stop the conversation, well, then that conversation ended, right? You can't go further with that conversation because you stopped that conversation. And so with understanding, the more understanding you have, the more knowledge you have, the more knowledge you have, the more you can go forward with your social media. And so let's take a look at one of the last stages, the last two stages, contributing. You now gain a solid understanding of the platform and you are in there, right? You're able to identify credible material. So understanding what's good, what's bad for that platform, as well as resources and individuals. So you now know who you're trying to follow, if you're on Twitter, who you're liking on Facebook, who you're following on Snapchat, all those different things. You add to the world of social media. This is now where you're actually doing something, whether it's your original thoughts, whether it's reposting stuff. So if you've shared an article, if you shared anything else, and so you're now contributing to the platform, right? At this level, the contribution does not matter as long as you contribute. So remember, everybody always forgets the social part of social media, right? It's like there's media and then there's social media. And so that social part is part of that contribution, right? If you're not contributing, it's no longer social. It's just the media form, right? It's an online advertisement, I guess. And so it could be a link to an article, it could be a retweet on Twitter, it could be a repost on Instagram, it could be sharing stuff, it could be anything that's contributing to your social media presence. You're in that contributing phase. So some of you may be in that contributing phase, and one of the first discussion questions we have for an assignment for this week is regarding your levels of taxonomy. So let's get to the last level of taxonomy, which is integration, right? Integrating. You develop original content now. It's not just you put a single word out on a tweet, you write a nice little Facebook post connected to an article that's there. You are contributing, right? So whether it's maybe your own original YouTube videos like I have for my site, I'm full integration. I have YouTube videos, I share them, I post them, everything like that. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's journal articles on Patreon or Medium or any of those online things. Maybe it's a Reddit post subforum that you're a moderator for. Whatever it is, right? You're fully integrated. And as gradual integration, you get small at first, right? Nothing started out big, right? I always tell my introduction to business class, big businesses didn't start out big. They started out small and then they grew to big. Well, same thing with your integration. You put something out there and then it grows, right? You see what was good, you see what wasn't good. And when we get into the content creation portion of this course, you will see how to do that. So whether it's through memes, GIFs, infographics, videos, how to go viral with certain things to use it as a tool to get your content out there. And so that full integration is where we expect you to go at some point. If you have a website with your full content on there and you're posting regularly on certain platforms, well, then you're in full integration. You're not going to be fully integrated on every single platform. It's nearly impossible to do that. There's so many social media platforms out there, and to be dedicated 100% of the time, right? Instead of being a jack of all trades, you may want to master a couple, right? There's YouTube stars, Twitter stars, Facebook companies that go out there and create stuff. So it's up to you about where your integration is. And so if we look at it, all levels, like I said from the very beginning, all levels have engagement, right? Engagement is at the core. Engagement is at the core of your taxonomy of social media. No matter what level you're at, you are engaging. Curious, you're not engaging that much, right? Lurking, you're engaging by understanding what it's all about. Understand or trying to understand it. When you get to understanding, you're engaging by learning the information. When you're contributing, you're now engaging that way. When you're fully integrated, you're extremely engagement. So engagement's the umbrella under all these. By engaging in social media, you move through the 5 stages. I put 4, but really 5 stages of social media. And then without engagement, social media is static. So without the engagement factor, without people going in and out and talking and fully developing themselves, social media becomes static. And that's why you see some sites like MySpace, some sites like Friendster, AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, they kind of go to the wayside because people stop engaging, right? Like I said, social media is a house party. When the house party becomes dead and it's not really engaging, you go to another party that's more engaging. And so then that party goes away and people say, oh, why did MySpace go away? Well, it stopped being engaging, right? It's the people stopped communicating with each other. And so if we look at this, as you read about the levels of engagement, we also have, I also put up articles on our page regarding the taxonomy. I have an article regarding the taxonomy level that you need to read for this week. Think about which level you're currently on. Think about your profession and the level of social media engagement that is required for you to succeed, right? What is your taxonomy level? And so if we go through this and we say to ourselves what taxonomy level you are, it's important because I want to know where we're starting out at, right? When I split you up into group projects, I want to make sure that I don't have one group that's 100% users of social media fully integrated doing stuff and then have one group that has 5 people or so that aren't integrated, and it's really difficult, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. I like to say that, and that's a common phrase, and I coach sports and mentor stuff. You're only as strong as your weakest link, meaning your group can only be as strong as however strong that bottom person is. And so not saying that it's bad, right? If you're not fully integrated on social media, I'm not using that as a negative. What I am saying, though, is that when we do Facebook page things and YouTube group projects and stuff like that, I need to know who's in the group so that it's a balanced group. And that's what I'm looking for, is that balance. And so there's more lectures this week. There's a few lectures this week, and this week is really top heavy on lectures just because it really sets the groundwork. When we get into the platforms, there'll be a lot more activity involved, meaning creating platforms and doing that type of stuff. But as far as your reading, that probably week 1 will be your most strenuous week of reading and lectures and online stuff like that, because of the fact that we're not fully getting into the platforms yet, but we're figuring out where we're at. So if you have any questions regarding this lecture, email me, put it in announcements, put it in the comment box of this video. Well, I don't know, I'm not gonna enable it for comments, but put it in a discussion forum, anything like that, so that we could fully do it. But other than that, thank you for listening to this lecture, and continue to watch more lectures. Thank you.